Hi, I'm Dave Epstein. Welcome to Growing Wisdom. We're going to talk today about the vegetable garden. And what I want to do in this video is talk to you about time of the year, where things are, and what my own thinking is. What I hope you get out of this video are just some little helpful hints around your own vegetable garden. You may have a bigger garden than I have. You may have a much smaller garden than I have. But perhaps you're growing similar things and you're wondering, well, what does he do with that? And how does that look so good? Or why doesn't that look so good? So let's go through and talk about some of the things that are going on in the vegetable garden. I want to start right here. First of all, move the hat out of the way. We'll start right here with the garlic. So the garlic, if you remember, if you go online, you can find how to plant garlic. This was planted the first week in December last year. And you can see how beautiful it is. I do have to say that this is the best my garlic has ever looked. So the garlic looks as good as I've ever seen it, and I added just a little bit of phosphorus and phosphate to the soil when I planted. So I think that's one of the reasons why this looks like it does. Next to the garlic, we have some Swiss chard. And the Swiss chard looks really big because this Swiss chard was wintered over under this high tunnel. So right now the Swiss chard looks fantastic in early June. It's much bigger than it would have been if I had started it from seed, say in April or May. So I started the carrots 5 weeks ago. They're in the front of the garden. And here's my thinking. So the back of the garden here, I use for some cooler weather crops. For example, got some radishes back here. Let me see what we got. We got to pick you some good ones. So I got to show off what I can do here. So these are some nice radishes. So the radishes will come out, and then what I'll be putting in here, some zucchini plants. I'll also put in some little squash plants back here. So this area here is going to be for summer crops. That's part of my thinking, the rotational planting. I also have some nice carrots in here. So the carrots were planted in late March. They're ready. The radishes planted about a month ago. They are ready. This area will be cleaned out in the next few days, and we'll be able to plant that. In the front here, that's where I can continue to grow some of the greens during the course of the summer. Eventually, we will change over some of that, perhaps planting some beans. And long-term thinking, I'll have to put cold weather crops back in here for the winter when I recover that up. So that's that part of the garden. Now we move a little bit towards the right here, and we've got some cabbages. You can see some beautiful cabbage here. I've had some problems with cabbage moth really bad last year. The whole crop wiped out. So this year I did use some neem oil on the cabbage, and it seems to be working pretty well at controlling this. I'm also using a little bit of spinosad. So between the two, the cabbages look pretty good. They were beginning to get eaten earlier, but right now they seem okay. Then we've got broccoli behind that, which looks real good. And so broccoli is a cool weather crop. This was placed in here in March, and you can see how nicely the broccoli is beginning to grow. The heads will get hopefully bigger and bigger, and we'll be harvesting that in the next few weeks. This area will then come out, and I have an opportunity to plant something else. We've got kale behind that, so perhaps a row of beans, maybe some bush beans, maybe some edamame would be good in this particular area. We'll be thinking about that as well. So over here, I recommend that you try to rotate things through. Because I have a structure for my tomatoes, it's very difficult to me to move the tomatoes. So one of the things I do is try to change the soil as much as possible. So we've got our tomatoes and we've got our cucumber area. Seems to be doing well. We're watching for that cucumber beetle, continuing to use some of the organic products to control that, like neem oil, like spinosad. And cucumbers right now look okay. Then the tomatoes. So we've got our fava beans behind there, the beautiful blooms going on. This is again early June. We'll harvest those in about 3 or 4 weeks. In the front here, I've got peppers and some different eggplants. They're in the raised bed, looking like they're doing fairly well. Haven't had a lot of heat here this past May and into the first couple of days of June, so they really haven't taken off, but I'm confident they will eventually. And then we come over to the other part of the vegetable garden, and you can see already we've got the peas. Now today is June 1st actually. Very early pea crop, mostly because I planted them early and we had a very mild season. And you know, look at what we've got here. This is Penelope. If you're wondering what variety I'm growing this year, this is Penelope. It's a Johnny Selected seed variety. And you can see just a really full pod. And you'll excuse me for a second. They are delicious. The baby peas are just fantastic. Put that in the compost pile later. So we also have our Brussels sprouts. They're a very late crop. We're talking October here for the Brussels sprouts, so not really doing much yet. And then we've got some collards behind here. Coming around to the onion. So I did the onions this way. I planted my onion sets very close together, too close together. And what I've been doing is I've been taking out every other one. So if you look here, look how close these are together. So I would probably want this onion and this onion right here to be the only ones. This middle one's too close to either of them. So I've been just pulling these out and using these as green onions. So now there's proper distance between them, and I've been continuing to do that throughout the spring. So as the onions get bigger, I pull out the middle one, I use it as green onions, and then we'll wait for the other ones to mature. And finally, let me stop here at the potatoes, and you can see the potatoes are getting eaten by the potato beetle, so we will have to do something about that. We're going to have to figure out a way to control that potato beetle, either by picking them off or using something organic, because if you get potato beetles real heavily, it really will damage your crop. The other thing I need to do with the potatoes is I need to mound up some hay or some soil around there, because you don't want the potatoes to be exposed to the sunlight, then they turn green and they're not very good. So there's a little bit of work there in the garden. So as you can see, things are progressing quite nicely in the vegetable garden here in early June. There's a lot going on. We continue to have a lot of work, and hopefully you've gotten an idea of where I am in my vegetable garden. It helps you to know sort of where you are and some things you can do. A couple of other last tips. Give your vegetables a little bit of liquid food, perhaps some fish fertilizer during the course of June as well. You should also be sure you are weeding. Weeds take light, nutrients, and moisture, and those should be going to your vegetables, not to your weeds. For Growing Wisdom, I'm Dave Epstein.